Hello, my name is Seren Adams. I'm founding attorney at Adams Law Office located in Bowie, Maryland. And for today's topic, we will be talking about what an advanced healthcare directive is. So this is kind of a follow-up to our last video on what a power of attorney is. The advanced healthcare directive is basically the medical version of the power of attorney. So it names an agent who is able to handle your medical decisions if you become incapacitated. So that would be, again, if you get into an accident on the Beltway and you're in the hospital for several months, all the way to you're in a coma for years, all the way to you're suffering from something major like dementia or Alzheimer's, and you lose the mental ability to be able to handle your own medical decisions, or you're unconscious. Say you had a medical procedure or you were just injured or something like that, and you're unconscious and unable to respond to doctors to make medical decisions, and the Advanced Healthcare Directive will name that agent who's able to step in and make those decisions on your behalf. It also gives them directions in terms of what you would want them to do. Things like make sure that I am taken care of at home as long as possible. You can specify things like what would happen if you're a woman and you're pregnant at the time that you become incapacitated. You can be really detailed in this document. And the living will is part of kind of the packet of advanced healthcare directive documents. In the living will, unlike your last will and testament, the living will basically talks about what you would want to do at end of life. So if you're facing a terminal condition or an end stage condition or a vegetative state, in any of those scenarios, what would you want doctors to do? Whether it's to so-called pull the plug, or whether you want to receive all available artificial medical treatment, or do you want to just receive food and water artificially? And you can specify if you want to just die naturally and not have them continue any artificial treatment. So that would be what you would put in your living will, so that you're basically giving instructions to the agent that you've named, along with the Advanced Healthcare Directive that gives them the legal authority to make those medical decisions on your behalf and gain access to medical records if you're incapacitated. We also recommend that you have a separate HIPAA authorization that can extend beyond your death, so that your agent is able to gain access to medical records if they need to prove a medical malpractice issue. They don't want to have to wait for a probate court order saying that they have access to records from a hospital years after, or months even after a medical malpractice issue. You want them to be able to do that right away. So the separate HIPAA authorization extending beyond your death is needed because the Advanced Healthcare Directive, similar to the power of attorney, expire with you. So after you pass away, they're no longer effective, which is why you need a will and ideally a trust in your estate plan to cover what happens after you pass away in terms of distribution of your assets. So the Advanced Healthcare Directive, very important document, one of the tools in the toolbox for estate planning that you should have in place. And it should be kind of that 3-part document. It can be a 4-part document if you also include an organ donation addendum to list whether you want to be an organ donor or not. So it should have the separate HIPAA authorization, the Advanced Healthcare Directive itself, the living will, and the organ donation addendum if you choose to be an organ donor. And you would name the agents within that document who would be able to serve in that role. And we do recommend making copies of this document for all of the agents you've named, and even for any family members or friends that you think may still, even if they're not named, still show up at the hospital if something major happens, because you do want to support the agent you've named in that way, so that anyone else that you think that may be trying to get involved in decision making, they will know who you've chosen to be the agent and who has the authority to make the decision, so that there's no squabbling or saying, no, I think they would want it to be this or that. The person you've named has the instructions, they have the authority, and they can then have the support of everyone else if you share that document. And you should also share it with your primary care physician so they have it on file if they ever needed to contact the agent if you're incapacitated in their care. And if you're ever admitted to the hospital for medical procedures, I do recommend taking a copy of it with you there. Um, all hospitals have their own version of this, and you don't want a conflict between what you fill out at the hospital versus what you've already filled out and given to that agent. So taking a copy of what you've already prepared with you will hopefully solve that issue. So that would be the Advanced Healthcare Directive. And again, that is one of the tools in the toolbox that you should have in place to make sure that your needs are taken care of for estate planning purposes. If you'd like more information like this, you can sign up to view our more detailed estate planning webinar at mylegacylawyer.com. Also, be sure to subscribe and follow us so that you can be notified when we have new videos available. And if you are actually ready to prepare an estate plan and would like to set up a consultation with one of our attorneys at my firm, you can schedule a legacy planning session online at adamslawoffice.com, or you can call us at 301-805-5892. See you next time.